Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger.
Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a massive announcement that will be dropping here in just under 5 hours. At 3 p.m. Eastern today, the FOMC will meet, and they will announce the next effective federal funds rate hike. We have pretty much found it certain that that will be a 25 basis point rate hike at this point, which is what we saw last month around February the 1st. We're likely going to see that come into play, and when that does, that is almost certainly going to cause a huge bout of volatility in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. But there is some dissension over what kind of volatility that will bring. Will that bring bullishness? Will that break us above $28,545, which is just a couple of $100 above us? Or, as we've seen more often in history, will this rate hike actually lead to a decline on Bitcoin's price action as a result of people being more skeptical about the economy of the United States of America and therefore the rest of the world? That's the question that we've really got to dive into today. I'm very excited to bring you today's stream. Could not be more excited to be here, guys. I love coming here and bringing you guys some content. I'm also just very excited about where we are in life. You guys know we have a baby coming probably in about 2 weeks, so that's very exciting. We've got new videos and new content coming out on the channel. We've got Club DeFi up and running, and you guys are loving that. We are getting slammed with emails of people like, we need the CT2A discount. We need the Club DeFi discount. So welcome to all of you guys that have been joining Club DeFi, and just a lot of things that we're working on that I'm very excited. In fact, there's something we've been working on in this room that I'm very excited about. And I will give you a little bit of a sneak peek of that at some point in the next couple of weeks, but I'm not going to share with you just yet what it is. But there are definitely more developments coming to the channel. Alrighty, let's read chat here for just a moment, and then we'll jump straight on into it. We will dive right on into it, I suppose I should say. Rocket Metal News was the first one this morning. He said, good morning. Good morning to you as well, Rocket Metal News. You are very often the first one here. Alex Nibo in chat said, good morning. Jojo in chat said, hey, good morning. Good to see you, Jojo. We got Mike Lowry, our first moderator of the day, in chat. And Green Name said, good morning, everybody. We've got Queen, I'm my hero, said, sup, homies. Hello, your hero. Michael Salazar in chat said, let's go. There's like 7 O's there, so that's what he said. Oh my said, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone has a good day. Hashtag FinSov. We've got Wreck the Bears in chat. Oi, you got to be careful with that name, because have you ever sold Bitcoin in your entire life? In that moment, you were a bear, so hopefully you don't get wrecked in that moment. But anyway, still a pretty cool name. Anthony Trina. You got to put the on there. Good morning, Jebb. I think this is a relief rally. Yeah, that's a good, that's definitely something that a lot of people are wondering. When People's in chat said, good morning and God bless all. Grand Roofing Incorporated in chat said, good morning, everyone. Crypto Mini Bike in chat said, good morning, everyone. The Classic IT guy in chat said, hey, all. He also said, good morning to Queen. Tyler on Gaming said, bonjour, Jebb. Bonjour. Are you from Francois? Germany. Jeremy Shorter said, Guten Tag. Oh, maybe that's why I said Germany. Guten Tag. Guten Tag to you as well. Guten Morgen. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you as well. Ich bin eine Jebb. I don't know how you pronounce my name in German. The Classic IT guy said, hashtag FinSov. Silent in chat said, good morning, crypto fam. Jebb, good to see you guys. Tyler on Gaming said, I sold it all at 50K and bought back all the more lower at 16 to 70. I'm 16 to 17. I'm happy if it goes lower, but let's pump it. Let's pump it up. Love to see it. Feels like another build up to the edge of a cliff. I couldn't agree more, but we will talk about that today. Speaking of, let's go ahead and jump straight on into it. The first place that we're going to look today is not actually CoinMarketCap. The first place we're going to look is a place called the CME Fed Watch Tool. For any of you guys that may be new to the stream, this is a website that tracks something called an FOMC meeting. What is an FOMC meeting? An FOMC meeting is the Federal Open Market Committee meeting. The Federal Open Market Committee is a committee that is comprised of members of the Federal Reserve. That is the central banking institution in the United States that controls monetary policy for the United States of America. The FOMC meets every roughly 45 days to decide on interest rates. And every 45 days for the last year, they have been increasing interest rates, either 25 basis points, which is 0.25%, or 50 basis points, which is 0.5%, or 0.75%, which is 75 basis points. It is almost guaranteed at this point that we're going to see a 25 basis point rate hike, which will hike us to 475 to 500 basis points. That's 4.75% to 5%. So if you are in the economy in any capacity that has to do with debt, then you're likely familiar with interest rates. You're likely familiar with credit card interest rates. You're likely familiar with auto loan interest rates. You're likely familiar with home loan interest rates. The longer the term period of the loan, typically the lower the interest rate you're going to get, because you don't need to have as high of an interest rate for the bank to make a ton of money, or the lender, whoever they may be, to make a lot of money. So if you're on credit card debt, and that's really, you're not supposed to hold on to credit card debt for more than a month or two, let alone even a year, you're probably gonna see 26 to 31% interest rates. You're on an auto loan, you may be looking at 8, 12, 15%, depending on your credit. You're looking at a house, you're looking at maybe, right now, probably 6.5 to 9, depending on your credit. But all of those rates are based on the base rate. The base rate is just another term for the effective federal funds rate. That's the technical term. The base rate's the colloquial term. The effective federal funds rate is what is being changed. Right now, it is sitting at 4.75. This is likely going to send. This is likely going to end up sending the market, the effective federal funds rate, the base rate, up to 5%. And when that occurs, that is going to end up having a profound impact on the cryptocurrency market. And I can show you what that market looks like right now. If you just type in EFFR, that's the effective federal funds rate. I'm sorry, I said it would go to 5%. It looks like we're going to be going to up to 4.75%. Apologies. Up to 5%. It's actually a range it'll be going to between 4.75 and 5%. Right now, the effective federal funds rate is effectively at 4.5%. And if we see this rate hike, we will see a 25 basis point rate hike, which will cause every single other interest rate in the entire country to shift, and that will likely have a profound impact on Bitcoin. What is this going to do to Bitcoin today? That's the question, and it just so happens to come at a very critical time, because as you can see, $28,545 is being aggressively tested, and there's absolutely a possibility that it could be broken today, even during this stream. So let's make haste, and let's make sure that we are looking at CoinMarketCap as well. Bitcoin is up up 1.5% over the last 24 hours. It is up 13.57% over the last 7 days, and up 70% over the last 90 days and year to date. Ethereum is down 0.2% over the last 24 hours, but it is still up 7.5% over the last 7 days. It is having this plateauing form on itself as well. You can see on the last 7 days price action chart over here, I believe you should be able to see that. On the last 7 days price action chart, you can see Bitcoin is gradually just moving to the upside here in this massive ascending wedge, whereas Ethereum is actually trending to the downside ever so slightly, just barely in this downtrend. And this is not actually a bad thing. I would honestly kind of prefer for Bitcoin to be in this pattern than the pattern that it's in right now, because this is actually a bull flag on ETH for anyone who's worried about the Ethereum price action. Obviously, it's going to follow Bitcoin, but if ETH does break bullish here, then it's going to push Ethereum all the way up based on the price target, probably to $2,000. $2,000 is, of course, a major level of resistance. $2,038 is the level of resistance that was set during the previous during the accumulation phase back here around the 15th of August. That is a major level that that Ethereum absolutely needs to break. That is an equivalent level to 25,236 on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has obviously outpaced Ethereum by leaps and bounds. So that's where Bitcoin is. That's where Ethereum is. Excuse me. USD coin is sitting on $35 billion of market cap. Tether sitting on $77.5 billion of market capitalization. I just want to share that with you guys to remind you. I told you once, I'll tell you again, we are sitting on $112 billion in market capitalization worth of dry powder on the sidelines. That is well over well, excuse me, that's not well over. That's right around 10% of total cryptocurrency market capitalization, especially when you include things like, where is it? Binance USD has $8 billion in market capitalization as well. When you add all of that together, that's about $120 billion in stable coins that is sitting as dry powder on the sidelines. That's almost exactly 1/10 of market capitalization sitting there waiting to deploy into the market. And remember, $1 of buying power can often move the market $2 or $3 in market capitalization, because if you were to sell every single Bitcoin, obviously you would not get $550 billion out of it, because if you started selling Bitcoin, it would drop the price of Bitcoin, which means that the market capitalization would go down on top of it going down from that cryptocurrency being sold, which means you have a duplicitous effect where you have the selling taking out market capitalization, but then it also drives the price down, which also drives down the total market capitalization. That's not really how it works in stablecoins. In stablecoins, theoretically anyway, the market capitalization should be 1-to-1. If you sell $1 billion worth of Tether, it should only move the market capitalization $1 billion, not 2 or 3 or 5 or $10 billion, because it is a pegged stablecoin. This should literally be $77 billion in Tether, whereas Bitcoin is not actually going to be able to be sold, all of it, into US dollars for $548 billion, the same way Tether is. Why is that important? Well, $77 billion worth of a stablecoin like Tether can easily, with market appreciation and market dynamics, move a market $500 billion. There are enough stablecoins on the sidelines to nearly double, in my opinion, depending on market forces and conditions, of course, the market capitalization of the entire cryptocurrency industry. So keep in mind the amount of dry powder we have sitting on the sidelines, and also keep in mind that it is not being deployed in rapidity right now. It is not being deployed extremely quickly right now, in the same way that it was, for example, over here in April, May, June, and July of 2022. It was being taken out very, very quickly. That was as a result of people, one, fleeing the market, but two, they're actually buying up the market and slowing down the drop. If we start seeing a large amount of this stablecoin Tether or USDC get deployed into Bitcoin, that could very easily cause Bitcoin to go into a major rally. And all that would take would be the ascent on Tether to slow down. All that would take, honestly, would be for Tether to no longer be gaining market capitalization. Because then, in the last 7 days, the $4 billion that went into Tether's market capitalization through the minting of new Tethers and through them being put into supply, instead, that $4 billion could have just gone straight into Bitcoin and probably added $50 billion. Maybe not quite that much, but maybe 20 or $30 billion in market cap, and we could already be over that level. People are looking for places to deploy their stablecoins, and if Bitcoin breaks with any confidence, I'm talking any confidence at all, above 28,545, we could see Bitcoin trading at $32,000 by the end of the day. That's the importance of this stream. So if you're tuning into this stream, you're in the right place, because we're about to see a giant movement on Bitcoin today. I am willing to go out on a very, very, very sturdy, like steel I-beam worth of a limb and say that we're going to see a huge, huge movement today. The question comes down to, what direction is that movement going to be? And I'm not going to lie, that is a very, very, very difficult question to answer with any confidence because of the state of the market right now, but I'm going to do my best to answer that question and give you my reasoning, and then I'm also going to show you how you can be prepared for either movement, because honestly, it's nice to go into a trade knowing with being able to predict with confidence which direction the market's going to go, but professional traders make sure that they are ready for either scenario, and that's what I really want you to walk away from today's stream with. So, if you guys are enjoying today's stream, go ahead and smash the like button. We've just gotten started. We've already got 600 people watching. Let's see if we can't get to 200 likes. Thank you guys so much. And we'll go ahead and read the Barnwalker super chat really quickly. Donated $10, said, love the show, Jebb. The Lord bless you and keep you and your family. The Lord has been so good to us. My king is Jesus, and I'm so excited to share his name with you here on this stream as I bring you guys this content. But let's go ahead and jump straight onto the chart. Again, we're going to talk about whether we're going to break to the upside above 28,545 or not. And then I'm going to show you how to be prepared for both scenarios, because I will come out and tell you right now, it is very difficult to give you a confident answer as to the direction of Bitcoin. over the next 5 hours as a result of this FOMC meeting coming out and the effective federal funds rate dropping at 3 p.m. this afternoon. It is very difficult to tell you what exactly is going to transpire, but what I can say is that I'm very confident that it's going to be big and there's a lot of profit to be made on it if you are ready in either direction. You don't have to know exactly the direction it's going to break. You just need to be ready for the break. All right, let's jump into it. First thing to keep in mind, and this is the context that I want you to not forget, Bitcoin has already rallied $9,000 in less than 2 weeks. In doing so, total cryptocurrency market capitalization has increased by 32% to the tune of $280 billion in 12 days and 3 hours since the beginning of this rally. This is the largest rally that Bitcoin has experienced in a very long time. The January rally in total was only $8,000 and it took 3 times as long. The last time we saw a rally of this magnitude, you have to go to the daily chart and you have to go back a long way. The last time we saw a $9,000 rally in 2 weeks, honestly, I don't think you're going to find it unless you go into the previous bull market. And that's pretty exciting. Here we had a rally in the bounce. This was right after the beginning of the war in Ukraine. We had an $11,000 bounce, which was over the course of 14 days. So that was somewhat comparable. If you really want to find a rally where you see $9,000 in 12 days, you're going to have to go back to the end of the bull market. These are bull market conditions, and these are showing that we have a lot of enthusiasm. Another thing to show you is here on this chart. Now, if you have not seen this chart, you will notice this chart from the video that we uploaded on Saturday. That video is talking about how a clock is going to send Bitcoin to $50,000. If you want to watch that video, I would highly encourage you to go back and watch it. And in that video, I talked about how Bitcoin has this transitionary zone, and I actually made that video right back here on Thursday. We had not broken into the transitionary zone yet, but I said that it very well could happen soon. And if Bitcoin broke into the transitionary zone, then it would enter, and if it broke through the transitionary zone, it would enter into this blue area, which if this isn't blue, I'm going to get made fun of in the comments, but that's okay. I'm not sensitive about my color blindness. This is called the pre-halving phase of the bull market, and this is an area where Bitcoin could trade around from $28,500 to $42,000. That is the prediction that we were making back here before we even broke above 25,236, and now that's where we are at the moment. Getting above 28,545 is very significant because 28,545 denotes the end of the transitionary zone. The transitionary zone demarcates the line between accumulation down here, which is absolutely not bull market territory, and the bull market territory that sits up here around the previous bull market areas and also moving up into all-time highs. This is a very critical zone that Bitcoin is going through, and there's something very significant that I want to point out. This rally looks significantly like the rally that we have seen take place in recent memory back in January. There's a couple of distinctions, though. Whenever Bitcoin went into its first correction, as it did here, Bitcoin only corrected for a day or two, and the general inclination of the correction was moving to the upside. You can see the direction of the correction. That is, believe it or not, kind of the technical term there. This is the inclination, if you want to use a more fancy word so that you feel smart. That's the inclination, the angle of attack, the direction of the correction. You look at the direction of the correction back over here, and you can see that we are basically trading sideways. This was a bull flag. In this case, we continue moving to the upside. This indicated that when we were moving to the upside continually, even though we were in a correction, that indicated that the bulls were still largely in charge. It indicated that the bulls were taking a breather. It indicated that some of the bulls were turning into short-term bears because they simply wanted to make sure that they were locking in profits and resetting their trades and, just making sure that they are not in over their head. However, back here, this was indicating that the market was not anywhere near as hype. From here, the next leg of the rally was about 11%. We're going to go percentages, not dollars, because we want to make sure we're looking at things fairly. And then from this leg of the rally, we rallied 16%. All right, so the correction was more aggressively to the upside. It was more bullish, and the next leg of the rally was larger as well, not just in dollar value, because again, that wouldn't really be fair. We rallied about 16% over the course of 12 days here. Here we rallied about 16% over the course of 6 days. It's actually more like 18%. And over here, we only rallied $3,300. Over here, we rallied $4,000, which that extra $700 difference is significant because obviously that is comprised of market capitalization. That was a very significant difference. So the first of the two corrections that both of these rallies witnessed, the correction that we went through in this more recent rally was actually more bullish. Also, the second leg was more bullish. Also, the second correction, as you can see, is vastly more bullish. If you're on TradingView with me, come over here to your line tool. This is your trend line. Come down here, grab trend angle. You can see the trend angle here. I cannot see that for the life of me. I do not like being colorblind moments like this. There we go, 14%. How many of you guys can actually read that says 14% right there? I can't even see it, actually, because isn't green like some kind of have to do with blue? I cannot read that. On the background of red, I can read it very easily. But you can see the inclination of this second corrective movement was 14%, as we've come to learn. Over here, it was nearly 50%. The market is more aggressive right now than it was during the second corrective movement that we saw in the first rally that we went through back here. Now, the one concern that I will give you is that we did see an effective federal funds rate hike come into play on February the 1st. That's what this vertical line right here denotes. This is when the effective federal funds rate dropped and Bitcoin did too. Right around here, the effective federal funds rate came out and Bitcoin immediately went into a correction. And so the reason that I tell you that it's so difficult to give you a proper prediction about what Bitcoin is going to do in the next 5 hours is because the model that we have for what's just taken place, we're in a post-CPI data report that was very bullish rally, just as we were in January, is doing very well, and it is very bullish. And in fact, based on what we just talked about the inclination of these corrections, it's even more bullish than the initial rally. But the problem is, we're about to see a second 25% basis point, a 0.25% basis point rate hike come out in just the next 5 hours. And we're doing the exact same thing that we were doing back here. We're at the top of the rally. We're at the top right here. We have very strong market conditions, but we have an even more bearish Fed report coming out today than we did on February the 1st. Why? Well, if you bring up the effective federal funds rate, I can show you right now on this screen. Let's just go ahead and let it load for a second. It does not want to load on this chart. Unsupported resolution. Oh, I probably have to be on the daily chart. Here we go. The effective federal funds rate that's coming out today is more bearish than the one that we saw on February the 1st. Why? Well, the reason is that we had seen a 50 basis point rate hike back here in December. Then we saw a 25 basis point rate hike here in February the 1st. So this 25 basis point rate hike in February was bearish because it was a rate hike increase. It was a rate hike. However, it was a smaller rate hike than we had been seeing. In November, we saw a 75 basis point rate hike. In December, we saw a 50 basis point rate hike. February 1st, we saw a 25 basis point rate hike, so people were thinking, oh, good, the next time we see a rate decision, which is today, we'll see a 0% basis point rate, a 0% rate hike. That's not going to happen. We are almost certainly going to see a 25 basis point rate hike and probably another few moving on into the future, and I think people will start to realize, oh, wait, there's a trend going on here. They weren't dropping down from 0.75, 0.5, 0.25 down to 0 and then asymptotically approaching 0 and then just flatlining interest rates up here in 4.5. No. What the Fed is actually doing is that they hiked them very aggressively to get to a more healthy range that they would define as more healthy, but then they're going to continue hiking rates very aggressively, not very aggressively, but very steadily at 25 basis points. So when we see that decision come out today of 25 basis points, people are going to start realizing, wait a minute, some of these geopolitical analysts, wait a minute, Crypto Jebb, wait a minute, some of the mainstream media pundits, not many of them, but some of them that are saying, look, we're not stopping at 4.5%. We're not stopping at 4.75%. We're going to 6%. People are going to start giving those people more credence, and that's going to lead to some bearishness, and that could rain on the parade. So you see my conundrum as an analyst and as a YouTuber who people come to for answers here. This is an extremely bullish market. And what we need is just a tiny little piece of news, and it could be the rate hike to push us just squeak us above 28,545, and we'll moonshine. We'll be at $32,000 in hours after we confirm above 28,545. The tricky thing is the news that's coming out is not bullish. It's not. So unless the market for some reason perceives it as bullish, I cannot shake this nagging feeling that we're testing this level and we're going to have trouble getting through it. But I also can't shake the nagging feeling that, wow, we are ridiculously bullish. And because we're ridiculously bullish, any shaking of the boat, even if it's a shaking of the boat that causes the boat to take on water, could end up getting people excited enough that they begin buying, and it causes the market to rally. If you'll remember back last Friday, I drew this blue line here when I drew this prediction. I drew this on Friday. So you can see this right here, right when I drew this prediction about what I thought the market was going to do over the course of the month of March. And it has been scary accurate so far. I predicted that we'd go through this rising wedge. Then I predicted we'd go through a correction down to 25,236. And then I predicted moving into the end of March, probably on into the beginning of April, potentially even waiting until April 12th, I think it is, the next CPI data report. Then maybe we'll be above 28,545. And part of the reason for that is because Bitcoin has established basically 3 zones that it has traded in over the last few months. We've seen this kind of zone right in here that we set in January. Then we saw this kind of zone that we set here in February, and then we saw this kind of zone that we set here in March. So we're going and setting up, we're stair-stepping to the upside. We're building huge amounts of VRVP support. I can show you that right here. We're building huge amounts of VRVP support, and that is very, very substantial and significant. We're very thankful for that. However, it could be that it's just a little bit too early to expect Bitcoin to go through this gigantic rally all the way up here to 28,545 and beyond. You can see this giant block of VRVP support. You can even see the unshaded area that recognizes the major block of the trading. You go into VRVP. This is the visible range volume profile over on TradingView. Value area volume is going to be what you are looking for right there. Anyway, my point is Bitcoin's been building huge volume bands of support. The tricky thing, again, is the fact that while this prediction has been scary accurate, if it continues to be accurate, then what we're going to see happen is Bitcoin's going to have a correction down to 25,236, and there is a technical argument for why that would occur, but there's also a technical argument that completely counteracts it. And I have a lesson in technical analysis here for you guys today, because this happens sometimes. Bitcoin is in a gigantic rising wedge. Go ahead and remove this cup and handle formation that we've spoken about, because we've that's kind of run its course. Bitcoin is in a gigantic rising wedge here, as you can see right there. Those typically break to the downside. However, depending on how you draw it, you could also argue that we are in an ascending triangle pattern, and ascending triangle patterns typically break to the upside. So this is one of those moments where you really have to lean on some understanding of the bulls. And I'm going to be honest, as much as I want to be bearish, as much as I think the effective federal funds rate coming out will probably be a bearish thing, I've got to lean in the bullish direction. I've got to lean in the direction that we're actually going to break 28,545 today. And if we don't in the next 2 to 3 days, and we start to break below this uptrending level of support, then I think that we will probably drop back down to this uptrending level of support, which is around $27,000, or all the way down to 25,900 or 25,236. But I do believe that there is a pretty decent likelihood today that we will see bullishness come out of Bitcoin, mainly because people are so excited about the effective federal funds rate decision for some reason, and people are going to see that rate decision come out, and some people are just going to buy because they're happy it wasn't 50. Some people are going to buy because they're happy that the uncertainty of what that is going to look like is over. And another reason why I am more inclined to tell you that it looks like we might break 28,545 is because we have all of these tests on resistance up there, and we're sitting against it right now. This is such a hard thing for me to tell you guys, because there's so much that's pulling me in the bearish direction. There's such a large part of me that wants to say, I think that we're going to drop down to 25,236. But guys, don't forget, the trend is your friend until it ends. And look, this is a situation that you're going to find yourself in oftentimes as a technical analyst, where sometimes you're just going to say, guys, look, this is cut and dry. This is where we're going. It's very confident that that's the direction we're going to move in. It's very clear, as plain as day. CPI drops 0.5%, Bitcoin rallies $3,000. That's just a formula, right? This is one of those areas where you have such a strong argument on both sides, and it is dang near impossible to tell what's going to happen until it happens. So, I've been in the market for 6 years nearly. July 31st will be 6 years, over 5 years. I've been working in these markets, making videos on these markets, analyzing these markets, trading these markets, investing in these markets, working in these markets, learning, meeting the people that build these markets. I've met some of the creators of cryptocurrency. I met the creator of Cardano. I've met the creator of Phantom. I've been working in these markets for a long time, and I've run into this situation many times. I want you to know something. Running into this situation does not mean that you're a bad technical analyst. Running into this situation does not mean that you are that you necessarily need to go and learn more. Running into this situation actually a lot of times should give you confidence. And the reason is that if you run into a situation where you just have to say, I'm going to throw my hands up and I'm going to make a gut feeling prediction and we'll see what happens, a lot of times that signals a lot of humility. And I'm not trying to say, look at me, I'm humble. I'm telling you that if you're running into this situation, it is not a bad thing to throw your hands up in the air and say every once in a while, look, I'm just not sure. Because honestly, guys, there are times where the technical analysis isn't sure. And well, sometimes maybe it's a good thing to go with gut feeling, because I'm watching the chart while we're here. And Bitcoin just actually broke above 28,545 again. So remember, we've broken above here for a couple of minutes, several times in the last 24 hours or the last 48 hours or so. But right now, we are in a major run-up to 28,545, and we'll see what happens. If we reject here in a big way, we could end up going through a big correction. We rejected $100. We got up there and people sell orders triggered is what happened. Look at the minute chart. We got up here above 28,545, and then instantly, if I could go to the second chart, I would. Instantly, we saw a big correction. Everybody who was in long positions, and there's a lot of them, have just sold. There are a lot of people that just long down here at $26,000. $28,000, and they just made a bunch of money because they were on 5 or 10x leverage because Bitcoin's in a predominantly bullish trend, and then they sold. A lot of people just made a lot of money in the last 2 minutes, if that's what you're looking for to see why it just rallied and rejected there. Now the question is, since we've rallied up there and everybody sold their orders as quickly as they could, depending on how fast their exchange was, because of that, are we able to maintain on the minute chart, and this really does come down to the minute right now, on the minute chart, are we able to maintain this general uptrending level of support, which we will go ahead and draw as blue? Are we able to maintain this general uptrending level of support and go up there and test that twice in the span of 10 or 15 minutes? Because that's what we were not able to do these last couple of times that we rallied up to 28,545. We rallied up to 28,545, corrected, traded sideways, and then we had a correction because this was just a fancy bear flag is all that was. If Bitcoin goes up here and double tops at 28,545, some of my uncertainty starts to go away. If we're able to just find the strength to rally back up here to 28,545 again, just because of exuberance and enthusiasm in the market, then very well, Bitcoin could end up going through a major rally. All right, so I'll go ahead and leave this chart up while I talk to you because I wanted to share a couple of things with you. First and foremost, as I was saying, if you are not totally certain about what a market is about to do, that does not make you a bad analyst, because there are times where the technical analysis just isn't clear. Remember, guys, we are trying to, as analysts, as technical analysts, it is our job to be good listeners. That's what we are. We are listeners of the market. We are listening to what the technicals tell us. We are listening to what the macroeconomics tells us. We are listening to what the market forces or the participants in the market are telling us. Well, if we are listeners and not speakers, then it is our job to listen well. That does not always mean that the market is going to speak in the most articulate way. You can be the best listener on planet Earth, but if you only speak English and someone is speaking Swahili, you're not going to have any idea what it is that they're saying. If you speak technical analysis and Bitcoin is just simply not communicating in a way that is conducive to a technical analyst or a fundamental analyst or a geopolitical or a macro analyst or news, whatever it is, understanding what the market is telling you, then that's not your fault. That's not on you. There are times where you can be the best analyst of every single type: macroeconomics, geopolitical, technical, fundamental, on-chain, etc., and you're just not going to have a clear picture of what the market's doing. That is pretty rare, I'll say. But there are times. And of course, there are times where you're just not going to understand because you have some learning to do. And so whenever I find a situation like this where I say, I have an intuition that we're going to do this one thing, but I'm just not totally confident, and I just wish I was more confident, that's where I can start to say, wow, maybe I should study more technical indicators. Maybe I should look at things like TD sequential. I bet we're overextended. Okay, we hit 6. Never mind. That's good to know. Maybe I should look at things like the Bollinger Bands. I bet we got overextended. We did. Not that big a deal. Maybe we should look at things like Lux Algo. Maybe we should look at some other indicators. It's in a 1 minute chart buy signal. 5 minute chart, it's obviously going to be in a buy signal as well. 15 minute chart, guaranteed, it's going to be in a 15 minute chart buy signal. Yep, 30 minute. But hang on, look at this. Lux Algo actually has a, okay, so here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Whenever you're not totally sure of what a market's going to do, one of the things you can do is just kind of scroll around the time frames and try and get an idea of what's going on. On the 15 minute chart with Lux Algo, a couple of things pointed out to me. Number one on Lux Algo, number two on candlestick analysis. We have this X up here. If you're familiar with Lux Algo, that's called an exit confirmation. Go into your Lux Algo signals, go to signal mode, confirmation plus exits. If you just have confirmation minimal, then that will disappear. It should anyway. No, it's still there actually. Anyway, that's an exit confirmation. And that exit confirmation is very important because it's basically Lux Algo's way of telling you that, hey, you should probably take some profit off of this prior buy signal. It's not a sell signal, but they almost always show up before, as not almost always, but a lot of times they will precede a sell signal following a big rally. Second thing I noticed here on the 15-minute chart is that we're rallying straight up into the top of the reversal zone. That is relatively bearish, if we're not able to break through it anyway. Now, we could break all the way through it and be up at $29,000. We've done that before. We've even done that in recent memory. You can see that happened right over here. We rallied all the way through the reversal zone. But if you know Lux Algo like I do, then one thing you'll know is that normally if you're going to break into the reversal zone, you're either going to stop at the very bottom or you're going to stop at the very top. Oftentimes, you're not just going to stop here in the middle. On candle bodies is what I'm talking about. Oftentimes, you might have a wick jump up here, but on candle bodies, you're often going to stop near one of the ends, not near the middle. And the other thing that's jumping out at me on the 15-minute chart is that right now, Bitcoin is forming this giant shooting star formation. That's kind of what I was talking about over the last couple of minutes here on Bitcoin, is that if it's able to come up here and test 28,545 again in the next 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes, that's where you start getting an idea that perhaps Bitcoin is going to be able to go through a major rally. If not, then Bitcoin potentially runs into a little bit of trouble where we've quadruple topped up here and we're just not able to sustain it. And then we have to drop all the way back down to this uptrend. And then maybe we have to try again, potentially even tomorrow, moving into tomorrow's live stream to break above 28,545. Needless to say, guys, Bitcoin is in very bullish territory right now. And while I do have a kind of a gut feeling, I'm going out on a limb and saying this, while I do have a bit of a gut feeling that Bitcoin's going to try and break above 28,545 again, I can't tell you that with a ton of confidence, and I can't back that up with a lot of technicals and fundamentals because they are pointing in both directions. Basically, what you're running into in technical analysis in a moment like this is if you have a GPS and the GPS tells you go north and south at the same time. How do you do that? You can't. So you kind of have to just go off of your intuition because you've driven these roads before. Anyway, what do we do in this scenario? Because this will come up as a trader and will come up as an analyst. And there's plenty of times where it'll come up simply because you are not familiar enough with the market to know what's going to happen and you need to learn more about technical analysis. What's your fallback? Well, very simply, this is your fallback. You trade both scenarios. Whether Bitcoin goes through a rally or through a correction, you set up an automatic trade to trade both of these scenarios. If you're looking to long a huge breakout above 28,545, here's what you do. You take the highest level that we've managed to get to, which is actually above 28,545, and this is why you look for it. The highest level that Bitcoin has managed to achieve has been 28,606, which means if we're going to go into a rally, we got to break 28,606 because clearly that wasn't enough to send us into a rally, so you don't want to set a buy order below that because then you will catch a top, and you don't want to do that. And by the way, I'd actually recommend being very close to your computer and setting an alert, not an automatic buy signal in something like this, because you could just be catching a top, and that would kind of suck. What you can do is you can set an automatic buy order or an alert. And if you want an alert, just come right up here, press this button, and then you just say Bitcoin is crossing 28,650. Trigger it only once, expiration, set it like 7 years from now, and then have it send you a text message or something to that effect. You can send it, send email to SMS, whatever you want to do. Create an alert on TradingView and then be right next to your computer, and then you can come over and jump in the trade. Or again, if you want to play it a little bit risky biscuits, then go ahead and enter into an automatic buy signal, and hopefully your exchange also has the ability to set up the trailing stop loss in the automatic buy signal before it's even set, so that you have that from the get-go. From there, set a buy signal. In this case, I'd say probably 28,640. Don't take my number on that. That's just something I'm kind of pulling out of a hat. You're going to want to look at some different technical analysis and look and say, okay, well, maybe if we break above $50 above the previous high, whatever it is, set your own level. Don't just go with what I'm saying, but 28,640 is a decent level to maybe base some of your understanding off of, because if we break 28,545, remember guys, this is the most important level that Bitcoin's contending with right now. It is ridiculously powerful. It's one that we've spoken on extensively over the last several months. Breaking above that will likely send Bitcoin confidently up to like $30,000 or $32,000 if we actually confidently break above it. So set yourself a buy order. Set yourself a trailing stop loss. I mean a pretty conservative one. If we're in a vertical rally, which is what we would likely see in the event of Bitcoin breaking above 28,545, you're probably going to see the market go parabolic like this. So if you have a $400 trailing stop loss, you're probably going to end up doing pretty well. And you guys can do this right now because look, Bitcoin's up here again. It could be breaking up out of here in the next 2 minutes. Like that. I wouldn't wait until the stream's over. Put the stream on in the background and listen to what I'm talking about. You could end up setting up this signal right now. And I would encourage you, if you're an active trader, be looking at your screen whenever Bitcoin is within $500 of $28,545. Be watching your chart. If you're an active full-time trader and that's your job, it's your job to be right next to the screen at all times if we're up here. Now, of course, you got to sleep. You got to do other stuff. But look at it on your phone. Carry the computer to the bathroom. Whatever it is, just pay close attention because there's definitely a trade opportunity here, and it is a very big one. Now, on the other side, what do you do if Bitcoin doesn't go bullish? How do you be prepared for both scenarios? Well, count the cost of going into a short. Is it really worth it? Is it worth it to potentially get a short trade where you could make where you could catch the market moving to the downside, $200 to $400, maybe $500? And then if you think that's worth taking the risk of betting against the primary trend, which is a primary uptrend, then in that case, and be very careful with this, then sure, plan yourself a short trade in a similar fashion. You could plan that short trade as far as right now, below this uptrending level of support, have an entry around maybe 28,340 or whatever, and then a trailing stop loss. Frankly, I don't think you're going to need the short trade because it looks like Bitcoin might be trying to break bullish right now. But you would basically do the same thing that we talked about with the long trade up here, except you do it in the short fashion. You'd enter a short instead, and then you would probably see the market, if the uptrend here is at 28,400, let's say, you'd probably enter around like 28,320. Exit around 28,000. You'd probably have to use leverage to make that worth your while. Okay, but here's something interesting. On the 5-minute chart, we just closed a candlestick that was very green, and that's going to give bullish incentive to the market. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's pay close attention. Whoa, here we go. Yep, see? You see why I had that automatic buy there? All right, it's happening live. Look at this. Bitcoin's at $28,632 and change. That is a new local high that Bitcoin has set. We have never been this high this year, guys, and that is likely going to give a lot of power to the bulls. Remember how I said, go maybe set this trade right now, because in the next couple of minutes, we could see this market move to the upside. That's what we're talking about, guys. And this is where the trailing stop loss comes in. You see how we're still flirting up here? We're still kind of moving around quickly. You want to make sure you're having a trailing stop loss. You don't want to be too close because a lot of this volatility could wipe you out. One of the things to keep in mind is that when the market's moving this quickly, Bitcoin is going to have a lot of volatility because the order books are non-existent up here, so it will jump around $150 in the span of just seconds because nobody has actually established buy and sell walls up here. So you do want to have a trailing stop loss, but you want it to be conservative. One thing you can also do is if you're quick on the draw and you have a good internet connection, you can stay here on your own and watch it and not have an actual trailing stop loss. You could have a flat stop loss around $28,600. I'm going to coach you guys through this movement as it is happening live. Bitcoin is breaking to the upside, and as I said, this is the highest level that has been at all year. This level of 28,606 was the highest level that we had witnessed up and until this point. And right now, the highest level that we have witnessed so far this year happened just a couple of minutes ago at $28,814. The question now becomes, since Bitcoin has in some capacity confidently broken above that level, can we stay above that level? Well, I think a lot of people are doing exactly what you and I are doing right now, which is watching the 5-minute chart. Is the 5-minute chart going to close up here, or is the 5-minute chart going to set one gigantic shooting star formation and the candle body is going to drop back down to 28,545, and then people are going to take that as a negative signal, and that's going to indicate bearishness. Well, that's what's going to be important over the next 3 minutes as we are approaching 1050 when that candlestick will close. But one thing I can tell you is that since we have now broken over $300, or excuse me, almost $300 above 28,545, I do think that this is the strongest piece of evidence that we have so far that Bitcoin actually can and probably will break confidently above 28,545. We still have that FOMC meeting looming in the distance. That is going to be happening here in just over 4 hours. But if we were able to stay up here even for just an hour, if we were even able to just close the hourly candlestick up here, which is approaching in 13 minutes, that will be huge. That will be absolutely monumental. And maybe we don't stay up here for very long. Maybe we do exactly what we did back here Tuesday, March 14th, where we broke above 25,236, and then we flatlined, and then we corrected. But that ended up causing that level to be breached confidently enough that we were able to go and knock it down again. Right now, what we're doing is we're trying to knock down the city walls, and maybe we don't actually manage to complete the invasion of the bull market territory today, but maybe this attack will weaken this resistance at 28,545, and it will allow this market to break that level once again in the next couple of hours or days, even if we don't manage to go into a major rally right now. Point being, if you enter that, if you are watching the market right now, pay very close attention to the fact that we have not reset a new local high relatively recently. In fact, it's been a few minutes. We jumped up here to 28,815, and we set that as resistance, and we have not seen it break yet. Everyone who's watching this market is watching it happen on the minute chart right now, and we are watching a spinning top that has just formed on the minute chart 2 minutes ago. Then we saw another bullish green candlestick come into play, and again, we are watching right now to see if that if that level can be confidently broken and close on the 5-minute chart and also on the hourly chart. So if you're new to the stream here, welcome to the stream. We just so happen to be catching a movement live here. Bitcoin has a major level of resistance at $28,545. That level is the level, and I'll just go ahead and go very quickly here, and I'll keep an eye on the price action. That level just so happens to be the level that we used as the absolute low on Bitcoin during this correction back in 2021. We dropped down here on June 22nd, 2021 to $28,545. That was the absolute bottom of this market. Oh, I see the price. Looks like we're trying to rally back up here once again. So let's go ahead and look back on the minute chart. That's the level that we set back then, and that level right here has just been broken. I made a video last week. It got about 42,000 views, so make sure you go back and watch it. And I told you guys that if we break above 28,545, then we're likely going to be going into a major bull market that will drive us to potentially even $50,000 by the end of the year. Now, I think you may be seeing where that prediction is coming from and how that may actually end up coming to pass. Two things to pay close attention to here on the minute chart is that, number one, we are establishing an ascending triangle formation. Right now, it's a little bit difficult to tell because we are on the minute chart. But two, the 5-minute chart is very important right now because people are waiting to see if this is going to turn into one giant shooting star. It just closed and it did not. We're likely to see bullishness within just the next 15 seconds as a result of that, in my humble opinion, because we have seen a giant green candlestick come into play, and it closed on the 5-minute chart, and people were not, and we did not see a big shooting star form here. Instead, we saw a very confident bullish candlestick formation form right now. Now, it seems like the bulls are still fighting sideways right here, but another thing people are going to be looking for is that hourly chart close. On the hourly chart, we are watching a major breakthrough on 28,545. That is that huge level of resistance that Bitcoin has been eyeing. If we are able to close the hourly chart up here, not just the 15-minute chart, which will close at the top of the hour, not just a 30-minute chart that will close at the top of the hour, but also if we're able to see the hourly chart close up here bullish, that's going to be remarkably important. Something else to keep in mind is that this is the beginning of the 2-hour chart. This is also only 1 hour away from the close of the 4-hourly chart. As we start to potentially close larger and larger and larger candlesticks up here, then that's going to give us some confidence. Now, one thing I will point out is that we have just broken bearish out of this ascending triangle pattern that we had witnessed. And so this is where I start to have more of a question as to whether or not Bitcoin is going to go through a similar formation, like a Bart-Simpson formation, that it did when it initially broke above 25,236 just a few days ago. That is very possible that Bitcoin does not manage to actually break with a lot of confidence right now. However, with Bitcoin having broken 28,545, if it is able to stay up here on the hourly chart, if it can just close the hourly chart up here, that's all I want it to do. If Bitcoin can just close the hourly chart up here, then effectively what that has done has absolutely smashed the resistance level of 28,545, its strength for good. Essentially what that has done is Bitcoin bringing down the city walls. And sure, the invading army of the bulls may not have been able to loot the city yet, but the walls are gone, and the next time they come back, it will be a much easier job. That's what we saw happen with 25,236. We initially broke above 25,236 just for a couple of hours. We fell back below, but the bulls at that point had a renewed confidence that, okay, wait a minute, this level actually is potentially able to be breached, and we ended up going through a major rally once again. As you can see right now, it looks like Bitcoin may be doing something similar, albeit on a slightly smaller scale. You can see Bitcoin has now dropped back below 28,545 in a major correction. But the damage has been done, and the cannonball has put a giant hole in one section of the wall of 28,545, and the bulls won't forget it. The bulls will not forget that they have witnessed the capitulation of the level of resistance of 28,545. Essentially, what just happened here is that Russia declared war, and this is an analogy, by the way. This did not actually happen. An analogy here is that Russia just declared war on Latvia, a NATO member, and the rest of NATO didn't do anything. That destroys the confidence of Article 5 of NATO, which is that an attack on one is an attack on all, and then all of NATO would declare war on Russia if Russia were to declare war on one member of NATO. So that's the equivalent of shattering the confidence of Article 5 of NATO. If Russia were to attack one member of NATO and the rest of NATO didn't respond, NATO would likely never recoup the confidence in Article 5 that it had before that attack had taken place. Similarly, we will likely never see the bears be able to establish more confidence in 28,545 than they had 15 minutes ago, because it has now been broken once, and I'm not talking a little tiny break where we jumped up here for 3 seconds yesterday. I'm talking about a major break where we broke several $100s above and we stayed up here for a multitude of minutes. In fact, it looks like we may even close an hourly candlestick up here. This is an actual breach. This is not just a little, this is not just a little tiny hole in the wall and you stick your finger through. This is a hole that you can send troops through in the analogy. And this is significant. Looking on the hourly chart, you can see, and let me just delete some of these lines here. This line right there as well. You can see on the hourly chart, we are threatening to close the hourly candlestick above this level. Yes, we will have this large wick, but that's not that big of a deal. We see big wicks all the time. If Bitcoin is able to close up here, especially if it's able to close pretty high, like it's able to go back up to 28,815, which is now that level that we're going to have to pay close attention to over the course of the next several weeks, or maybe even just over the next couple of days. It's an important level now. Then Bitcoin will establish confidence that, okay, 28,545 has been broken, and the news will spread, and people will see live streams like this, and chartists and analysts will be looking at their alerts that they set, because I showed you 20 minutes ago how to set an alert in case something like this were to happen, and the people that have those alerts set up will see those alerts, and then they'll come in and they'll buy, and they'll be very excited. Right now, there is a conversation going on in the head of every single trader. Is this an actual break above 28,545 that's going to lead us to a several $1,000 rally or not? That's the conversation going on in every single professional trader and investor's mind right now that's watching this market. Is this a breakout that's actually going to lead to a large movement that I can trade? Or is this just one of those breaches of the walls that will become relevant and important later? Well, even just over the last 3 minutes, some of those traders and analysts will have some of their questions answered. As you can see, Bitcoin attempted to pull back down below 28,545, but it kind of flipped the script. What do I mean? Well, Bitcoin before had just been putting candle wicks above 28,545. As of 4 minutes ago, Bitcoin is just now putting candlestick wicks below 28,545, indicating that the market is kind of saying, no, this is where we're going to trade now. No, this is the range that we're going to trade in now. And if you go on the minute chart and you look at Lux Algo price action concepts, you can see the equilibrium right here is just below 28,545. We hit the premium, but if we go much farther, the equilibrium on Lux Algo price action concepts is going to jump up here to 28,650, 28,700, somewhere in there, and that's going to end up helping things quite a lot. You can see that Bitcoin did have a pretty large correction here because people sold and they made a lot of money, and a lot of people sold their long positions right here. But if we stay up here, every minute that we stay up here above 28,545, even if you're at 28,550, you're $5 above it. Every single second minute that we stay up here, the more confident that the bulls become that a major rally is coming, because every minute we stay up here, we are in enemy territory. If you march an army into enemy territory, every minute that you're there, you get more confidence that you are the one in control of it. Now, if you're going to march an army into enemy territory, then you have to spend the time and dedicate the time to rebuild the bridges that you destroyed. You have to dedicate the time to establish supply lines so that your troops don't starve. You have to dedicate time to build command and control facilities so that you're able to control that massive army that you just moved into enemy territory. So you have to build infrastructure in the enemy territory because you are a foreigner in that land. But every minute that passes, you make progress on that and you harden yourself and your position in that enemy territory. You blitzkrieg into a land and then you might have to come out of it very quickly. You build a company very fast and it may collapse just as quickly because you did not build that backing, that infrastructure, that confidence. In the same way in Bitcoin, when you break above a level, you have to spend time there to build confidence, to build metaphorical infrastructure and road networks to support the metaphorical army of bulls that have just committed an insurrection against enemy territory. In this case, that would be the bears' territory. In my humble opinion, every minute that passes here, Bitcoin is establishing itself as a dominant, the bulls are establishing themselves as the dominant force once again, and they increase their chances of breaking back above 28,815 and rallying the market even farther to the upside. I am going to go to full screen really quickly here. Actually, no, I won't go to full screen. I'll go ahead and leave it here on the chart, but I'll read chat from my phone. A lot of you guys in chat. Thank you guys so very much for all of you who have tuned in. I will go to full screen just for a second to see if there's any super chats I'm missing. We do have about 1,800 people watching right now, guys. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't see any super chats other than the one I read earlier, so I will go back to the chart so you guys can see what's going on. I'll read chat from my phone. I hope you guys are enjoying today's stream. We will go a few minutes over. First of all, it's a few minutes late to stream today, but we've also got something very exciting happening, so I will go a few minutes over and analyze all of this. Right now, Bitcoin's going through a small correction, and that small correction does indicate that what we've just seen happen over the last couple of minutes could have been a rising wedge. Now, again, we don't have the second chart, so I can't really see this very well, but with the limited resolution that we do have, it kind of looks like we have a downtrend with a rising wedge, and now we could be breaking bearish out of it. That could end up giving us a price target. As you can see with the trend line right here, that could end up giving us a price target right back down to our uptrending level of support around 28,400. But again, guys, very exciting news. Here at the top of the hour, then we are going to see, and that's within 60 seconds now. That's just 60 seconds away. We're going to see the hourly candlestick close up here. Everybody is watching for this. And if we do end up seeing that market close above 28,545, I think that that is a very, very, very significant movement indeed. All right, let's pay very close attention here because we're going to count down the seconds. We've got about 25 seconds on the clock. We've got about 30 seconds until the end of the hour. You can see over here in Cupertino time. 25 seconds till the end of the hour. Come on, Bitcoin. Everybody. Watch very closely. 20 seconds until the hourly candlestick closes. We need to see that. We don't need, but we would very much like to see this hold the line above $28,545. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close. We, my friends, have closed a 1 hourly candlestick chart, a 1 hour candlestick above $28,545. And the bulls are going to recognize that. That is a shot across the bow at the bulls. Excuse me, at the bears. And that is a very, 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 very big deal to close an hourly candlestick up here. And I would not at all be surprised to see over just the next 5 minutes to see some more bullishness come into play on that because that will give more confidence to the bulls. By the way, if you guys are not subscribed to this channel, I think you absolutely should. As you can see, technical analysis is one of the greatest tools that we have in our arsenal to predict and understand what the market is going to do. And one of the things that we also have to watch very closely is the sentiment in the space. And that's where I think I had that kind of gut feeling that, okay, I think we actually are going to break 28,545 because there's a part of me that wanted to be, quote unquote, a realist and say, the Fed news is bad, it's bearish. We're not going to break 28,545. But then there's a part of you that understands mass psychology. For any of you guys that are in Bitcoin, in Club DeFi, let me just show you really quickly. Just show you real quick. There's a video in Club DeFi here that I just leaned on to make this prediction that we actually would break to the upside. Now, I told you I wasn't very confident in it because we really just kind of can't be. But it was that kind of gut feeling that I've had for a long time. And it's this video right here. It's the 11th video in Club DeFi where we teach you guys everything that you need to know about technical analysis so you can make predictions like this and admit when you're wrong. And I was wrong. I made a prediction last Friday. And I want to make sure you guys know this because I was right on this prediction right now, but I was right on this prediction because I was calling another prediction I made last week wrong. I made a prediction last week that looked like this. Because I don't want to sit here and act like I'm perfect, but technical analysis is very powerful. I made this prediction that we would go through this big wedge, and you can see I made this prediction right here. And it was very accurate. But there's also this part of the prediction that causes us to drop down to 25,236. And that is still possible, considering we're not seeing a multi-$1,000 rally above 28,545 yet. But I said, you know what? On the short term, I'm not sure that's actually what's going to happen because I have this gut feeling that if Bitcoin comes up here and tests 28,545 a second time, then it will probably go through a big green candlestick and we'll probably see a big rally. Well, we came up here and tested it again, and all of this is live. We've been live through all of this. Make sure, just go, after the stream is over, go back and watch this stream because this has been an incredible 20 or 30 minutes. Really, really, really great stuff watching what the market's doing here. And the market managed to rally up there. Now, something I will also tell you is that we've seen Bitcoin do this kind of thing before. It will go up here and it'll have a one rally, a second rally, and then it'll drop and go through accumulation, and it'll drop again. This movement that you saw happen back over here on Tuesday the 21st is almost identical to what we're doing right now. You can see we had our one movement, a second movement, then we're dropping and going through a little bit of a rally, and then we might correct. We'll see what happens on that. I'm not guaranteeing that that's what's going to take place because right now Bitcoin's actually looking pretty healthy. And again, a lot of that's going to have to do with the fact that we just closed that hourly chart candlestick bullish. We are in a bear flag technically, so I'd like to see Bitcoin rally quite substantially here relatively soon. There is a bullish MACD cross coming in on the minute chart. That bullish MACD cross is going to be being watched like a hawk from all of the different bulls in the space right now. And a lot of people are going to say that a lot of people are going to see that and they're going to say, good deal. Bitcoin's doing well. I will buy. We'll see if that comes in. If it does, we're going to be in good shape. All right, we had 2 super chats. Danny Carney said, running late today, just tuned in to smash the like buttons and show some support. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much, Danny Carney. We're going to go a few minutes over. We'll go for maybe another 5 to 10 minutes and play it by ear. We're going to go a little bit long today just to see what's happening here. If you guys are enjoying today's show, make sure to smash that like button and also make sure to check out Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis because that is the place where we teach you guys everything that you need to know about technical analysis so that you can make sure to trade and analyze these markets. We'll watch for a few more minutes here, and if it doesn't look like anything interesting is going to happen, we're going to go ahead and wrap out because we normally wrap out about 5 minutes ago. Matt Graham donated £2 and said, amazing to watch. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It is definitely amazing to watch. Let's see. I'll read some chat here. Colin McDonald in chat said, hi, Jebb and all. Hello to you, my friend. Good to see you, Colin McDonald, and thank you for your support. Let's see. Everyone FOMO in. Yeah. A lot of people saying FOMO in. Don't FOMO in. Make sure you're using your intuition, yes, but don't FOMO. Fed decision is later today. This is pre-game volatility. Yes, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of volatility today. Pablo Yampasi said, did he talk about the Fed decision? Yes, I did. That's going to be important come 3 p.m. Rave Song Record said, what a blast going through this live with you, Jebb. I do enjoy when this happens, watching things happen live. John Doe said, Jebb, Bitcoin general. That's what it feels like. I love your war analogy. You've read The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I have not. I've studied some of the concepts of it, but I've not actually managed to read the book. I would love to read that book. It is a very, very famous book. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. One of the most famous books ever written, especially on warfare, of course. We got Siobhan Golay in chat. People are saying they're going to sell things that they shouldn't be selling to buy Bitcoin. Be very careful about that, guys. 4 minutes for the candlestick close. Yes, that was true. All right. Hi, Jebb. How far up does the resistance band go up to? That's a good point. I meant to show you that. Look on the 15-minute chart. That resistance band, if you'll remember, look at this. That's what I told you. Look, Oh, that's great. Yeah, so the 15-minute chart, we were on the 15-minute chart, right? Not the 5-minute. Yeah, we were on the 15-minute chart. Remember how I told you that on Lux Algo, you oftentimes will go to either the bottom of the resistance band or you go all the way to the top. Well, the reason I was saying that was because if we broke through the bottom of the resistance band, we'd probably go all the way to the other side. That's what we did. We broke right up there. Guys, if you don't have Lux Algo, you are missing out. Do you guys know that these confirmed buy and sell signals on the daily chart, there's a bunch of them. The last 13 buy signals, 12 of them were accurate. On the last 11 sell signals, I think 10 of them, or maybe even all 11, were perfectly accurate. If you don't have Lux Algo, it is absolutely critical in my mind to watching what Bitcoin is doing. It is such a popular technical indicator now that I have watched market movements, and I'm pretty sure they happened because people were analyzing Lux Algo and they made a trade based off of Lux Algo. If you don't have Lux Algo, you are missing out. It is that simple. You should get access to it with the link in the description box down below. Now, kind of how we talked about on the 5-minute chart, if you jump into the bottom of the band, you're probably going to go all the way to the top if you start breaking through it. Similar thing here. If we do see Bitcoin break through the bottom of the reversal band, which is right here around 28,815, which this is kind of what I'm talking about. The market seems to be making trades based off of Lux Algo. Look at this. I just noticed this. Look at that. Went to 28,815. That was, let's see, $8 below the bottom of the band. That sounds like a lot. It's not. This is Bitcoin. It seems like Bitcoin actually rejected off of the exact bottom of the band on the hourly chart. So anyway, if you are watching Lux Algo, if we break through the bottom of the band and rally all the way up here to 29,400, or excuse me, if we start breaking through the band, we probably will rally all the way up to like 29,400. And then, of course, $30,000 is a major level of resistance. Just look at all these. You can pause and look at these buy and sell signals if you want. They're absolutely incredible. $30,000 is a big level. And then, of course, $32,800 is going to be a major level that we set as resistance right here, as support here, Tuesday, January the 25th. And then, of course, there are a few other levels back over here. $29,900, $23,000, sorry, $30,000 flat. Plenty of different levels to look at on Bitcoin. Like I said, guys, probably going to go for another minute or two, and then we're going to wrap it out unless we have a giant movement. Micah, the prophet, said, what Lux Algo setting do you use, Jebb? I use, you can see here, 12 on signal sensitivity, 26 on agility. Where is it? Confirmation signals, agility right here. Then I use reversal zones, EQ cloud, the dashboard, trend catcher, and there are plenty of other indicators in Lux Algo, but those are the main ones that I use. They are absolutely phenomenal, and as a technical analyst, I find them to be very helpful. So if you don't have Lux Algo, make sure to check it out. Use the link in the description box down below. And from that link, you can use coupon code Jebb, J-E-B-B, for 20% off at checkout. And you will be so glad you did, because I am kidding you not, guys. I don't have time to show you right now, but if you go back on the daily chart and on pretty much any chart, every time you have a confirmed buy signal, that is a buy or a sell signal with trend catcher confirmation, and just some very simple technical analysis, that signal is going to be accurate about 85 to 90% of the time. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. I didn't even think that was possible with technical indicators, but in a lot of cases, it is with Lux Algo. Very exciting. Buckslayer said, awesome TA, Jebb. Thank you so much. All right. Read just a couple more chats, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap out. Devin Horry said, awesome sauce content. Thank you so much. If you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I want you to do me a favor. Go back and watch a few of the videos that we've just made on the channal. We made a video about how the Fed is burning $9 trillion and the impact that's having on Bitcoin. We talked about how the Fed is also causing $17 trillion of stock market value to vanish. And we talked about in the last Saturday's video, that was titled "How a Clock Will Send Bitcoin to $50,000." And in that video, I talked about how Bitcoin needs to break above the transitionary zone. By the way, I haven't mentioned this yet. Being up here means that we're on the bullish side of the transitionary zone, and we are actually very close to confirming a bull market. Just so you know, we are very close to confirming a bull market if we stay up here. That's how significant this is. Brent Holt said, Jebb, why do you think Nick at Data Dash is so bearish right now? Do you think he's thinking too much into it and forgets Bitcoin moves to the beat of its own drum? I haven't managed to watch a lot of Nick's videos, but I am a good friend of Nick Merton, and I also know that he's very, very, very good at what he does. And believe it or not, there are a ton of things that I've been saying that are bearish as well. Bitcoin, but the moving to the beat of its own drum is kind of part of the point. It does kind of move along with things such as the halving cycles. So I am quite bearish on Bitcoin in a lot of factors. I just think that Bitcoin is going to kind of ignore some of those factors. So I don't want to knock Nick, because there's plenty of times that I've been so tempted to say, I don't know if Bitcoin's going to break this level, and then it did. And just trying to kind of learn from my mistakes of the past. So definitely go subscribe to Data Dash. He's got a great channel. Okay. Robert Stevens, you look like you're having trouble with, you said Club DeFi. Yes, make sure, we will, Robert Stevens, let me take a note of your name. Would that be the name that would show up in the email? We've been on top of all the emails, I thought, but we'll make sure to check you out. You don't see an email? Okay. Sarah was watching the stream chat, and it looks like she checked to see if there was an email from you, and we don't see it on our end. But, so Robert Stevens, I do apologize. I don't know if we have an email. What's that? Right. That's what I was about to say. There is a possibility. We did have a run-in with we did have an issue with our previous customer support system, and we were not able to actually log into it. So we couldn't get access to any of those emails. So if you send us an email at some point in the somewhat distant past, as far as like, if you haven't sent us an email like the last 2 to 3 weeks since we've gotten that fixed, we probably can't see it because our vendor has locked us out of our emails. Really. We can see all emails that are being sent now, but I really apologize for that. It honestly is not on us. Is that I don't know what they were doing. Regardless, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to bash anybody, but we're not using them anymore. So if you send us an email now, we will be able to see it. So Robert, please send that again, and we will try and help you as much as possible. Hispanic says, Saturday videos are awesome. Thank you so much. Michael, please don't do that. I'm not going to repeat what you said, but please don't do that. Let's see. Alrighty. Well, guys, I think we are about to go ahead and wrap it out. Really, really, really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Robert4962 said, when something good happens, I don't call it luck. I call it a peck from the Lord. That's absolutely right, guys, because the thing to keep in mind is that all good things come from the Lord Jesus Christ. They don't come from man, and I give all of the credit to him because he is the author of things that are good. And whenever I sin, I'm unleashing hell in the world. Whenever I do the will of the Father in heaven, then I'm helping to spread heaven on earth. Now, it's not me, it's Christ in me, but anyway, I'm a Christian. I give all of my credit to him for everything that he's done in my life. And so thank you guys so very much for tuning in. It has been a great blessing. We are going to have to go ahead and wrap it out. Guys, if you have not already, make sure to, one, if you are having trouble, shoot us an email again, support@cryptojebb.com. But two, if you have not already, make sure to sign up for Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. Because in Principles of Technical Analysis, you are going to learn everything that you need to know to be able to do the technical analysis that we have managed to use to make so many predictions recently that have come true. And even in this video, for example, right here, where we talk about mass psychology, this video would have given you a lot of support in understanding why the market was about to move to the upside because of the FOMO. We also have a video in here talking about that kind of intuition, that feeling, that instinct that you have in cryptocurrency where you just are very confident that something's going to happen, but you couldn't know exactly why. That is an intuition. That's a lion's instinct, and you are going to need to have that to be successful in the cryptocurrency space. Guys, through the predecessor to Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis, that was CT2A, we managed to help over 5,000 students learn technical analysis so that they could better themselves and get ready for the cryptocurrency bull market that was coming at that point. Principles of Technical Analysis is going to help you get ready for the bull market that is coming now. So I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in and watching this market with me. I am going to have to go ahead and wrap it out. If you enjoyed today's video, sign up for Lux Algo, sign up for Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. You're going to be so glad you did. Join the hundreds and thousands of people who have done the exact same thing, and they are making tons of money in the cryptocurrency space because they invested in their education and tools to help them become successful. Make sure to hit that like button if you have not already. Let's see if we can't get to 1,000 likes, and subscribe to the channel for more live streams just like this, where we'll be analyzing the technical analysis and the on-chain analysis and the fundamental analysis and the macro and the geopolitical analysis of the cryptocurrency markets every single day. I am going to have to go ahead and wrap it out, but before I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.